Hello, this is Fred
This is Sheila. Hi.
McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky. We're going to make a
video
off-the-cuff video, more or less. She's already got some lined up for the next few days, but we've had a lot of comments that says, why are you so tough on devil ants? What about the McCoys? Or you must be a McCoy because it looks like picking on the Hatfields. Not picking on the Hatfields, I'm half Hatfield. My great-great-grandfather was Preacher Ants, and his daughter Nancy married my great-grandfather Asa McCoy, rather, not Asa Harmon, Asa. We was just on the phone with a guy doing some research on Asa Harmon, so that's what that came up. So today, we're going to discuss that. Why do we not do any videos on the McCoys? Well, it's simple. The McCoys don't do nothing wrong. That's a joke.
He's kidding.
Everybody's got them. So
nobody's perfect.
It just seems like over the years, the West Virginia Hatfields or the Devil Ants Hatfield cult or followers, that's a better word, his followers seems to want people to believe that he could do no wrong, and he did no wrong, and that's just not the case. And for a lot of years we've just let it go, and finally it's come to the point where we've got to put it out there, and that's what we're doing. That's fine. Now let's go with the McCoys. There's plenty of stories on McCoys. There's not going to be nothing as bad as what Devil Ants did. I mean, let's face it, we're going to cover a story later on where one gentleman says in his book that there was only 6 times that the feud really escalated, and there was only 6 times that the feud was bad. This is going to be another video, and we'll show you verbatim out of his book, but we go through those 6 times, and one time they killed Randall McCoy's brother.
Asa Harmon.
One time Devil Ants deserted and left Randall McCoy to fend for himself. One time they tied 3 of Randall McCoy's children up. I know they stabbed Ellison and so forth like that, but let's just stick with those 6 times.
Right.
They tied Randall McCoy's 3 boys up and assassinated them.
Yeah.
Another time they set fire to Randall McCoy's cabin. They killed 2 more of his children. And they left his wife for dead. They beat her so bad.
Yeah.
Another time they killed Randall McCoy's nephew, shot him in the back as he crossed the Tug River. That would have been Jeff McCoy, Asa Harmon's youngest son. So at each one of these things that happened, those 6 times is enough times
it's pretty bad
to drive somebody crazy. I mean, when you lose that many children and relation. So that's why and Devil Ants was responsible for this, either directly or indirectly, but he would have been responsible. Now, here I go again, getting off on Devil Ants. That's not our purpose.
That's not our goal today.
Of this video.
Right.
This video is to talk about the McCoys. We've got a couple more stories on the McCoys also coming up in later videos, but we wanted to throw this one out there just to show you we don't take sides.
We're fair.
On this board right here, Sheila's going to make copies and post it.
At the end of the video, I'll take a good picture of it so that you guys can stop at anywhere you want to in the video, whatever you're watching on, and look and read what we're about to post.
Okay. And I'm going to, reading's not the best, but I'm going to read you from this board right here, and it says, when Sheila and I first, this is right out of Sheila and my book, our big book. When Sheila and I first mentioned we were putting Charles Manson and his relationship to the McCoys in our book, we had several people ask us not to. Why do you have to mention his relationship to the McCoys? They asked. After much thought, we decided to print our findings and Charlie's relationship to the McCoys, Scotts, Maddoxes, and many more in that area. Sheila and I discussed that we didn't pull any punches when it came to the Hatfields, to the West Virginia Hatfields. More specifically, the Devil Anse Hatfields. And we didn't pull our punches when it came to Devil Anse. So it wouldn't be fair if we didn't do the same with the McCoys.
That's right.
And the Charles Manson story. I guess there's one in every family. The difference in the West Virginia Hatfields, they made a hero out of theirs. Yeah. And the McCoys accepts that there are bad people in everyone's bloodline. And we call it like we see it. A murderer is a murderer. Hatfield or McCoy or Devil Anse or Charles Manson. And I'm not going to read all this down through here. She's going to take a picture and post it for you. But I'm going to tell you something. Charles Manson was born November the 12th, 1934 to an unmarried 16-year-old woman girl named Kathleen Maddox. She was born in 1918, died in 1973. And she gave birth to Charlie Manson, or at that time, no name Maddox, where his mother's name was Maddox. First they called him no name, it was in one story. In the General Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio, Manson was first named no name Maddox because she didn't give him a name, supposedly. Within weeks, he was Charles Miles Maddox. For a period after his birth, his mother was married to a laborer named William Manson. He was born in 1910, and his last name was given to Charlie. 2 years later, Kathleen filed a suit against Colonel Scott of Ashland, Kentucky for child support, which she was awarded but never received. In short, Charles Manson was illegitimate, and his biological father appears to have been Colonel Walker Scott, born May the 11th, 1910, died December the 30th, 1954, against whom Kathleen Maddox had the suit filed against, and an agreed judgment in 1937. Not sure if Charlie Manson ever knew his biological father, but it was Colonel Scott. Now, Colonel Walker Scott, his name was Colonel. That's not a military given name. They actually named him Colonel.
So that was his actual name?
That's his given name.
Okay.
And a lot of people over the years have thought that he was some kind of a colonel in the military, but that's not so. And Charles Manson, of course, was 5'2", born on November 12, 34, Cincinnati, Ohio. And you can read that for yourself. What we're going to make a point of today is down here. Here's Charlie's parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. Whoa, wait a minute. Let's look at his great-great-grandparents down here. Elizabeth McCoy. Now, Elizabeth McCoy would have been the daughter of John McCoy of old William McCoy.
Okay.
And that is, so Charlie Manson, as bad and ruthless as he is, actually his great-great-grandmother was a McCoy. Now, in another video, we had this picture right here. Who is this? And it's Charlie Manson on a pedestal and on a monument like Devil Anse's. But it says, look at this photo. You know who this is, but in 150 years, when someone looks at this big monument, they don't know. They don't look at the person's past or his reputation. They automatically imagine it being someone of some importance, mainly because of the monument. Thus, Monument for a Murderer, and that's how we came up with the title of our book, Monument for a Murderer, because Devil Anse put a monument up, and he was a murderer. There's no debating that. And what we're trying to show there, and that's in another video, and so we'll let it stand at that. But you know, in 150 years, just like Devil Anse, over the last 20 years especially, people looks at that big monument on them four-wheelers.
And the writing on the monument.
On the four-wheelers that rides up there, and all these people see stuff. And what?
The wording, how they have, like they have Captain on his.
And you automatically assume that he's a hero. And again, you can take Charlie Manson, for those of us that know him today and is of age and followed him through the years. He was a murderer and a killer and a demon. But you could put his face on a monument and put him up on a hill somewhere, and in 100 years, some kids would go up there and say, "Whoa, look at that! That guy must have really been something." And he was. He was a murderer.
It's evil.
So back to all those people now that says, "Why don't you do videos on the McCoys?"
Here you go.
There's your video on the McCoys. It's just that there's a whole lot more videos of the ruthless things that Devil Anse did than what the McCoys. And you know, we've got so many of these videos, and I know we repeat ourselves sometimes and we get intertwined, but once again, this man, Randall McCoy, lost 6 children to Devil Anse. And I read a while back, and it's in our book, and it's in, and all you had to do is an author back in the older days, Altina Waller, Altina Waller would copy anybody's book. She copied anything from anybody. And there's several authors like that, and we'll be naming them as we go along. But a lot of authors says that Randall McCoy walked around just talking to himself or talking to anybody that would listen. Listen, lose 6 of your children, and let's see how you would act.
How sane you stay.
How, you know, the man wanted justice, he never got it.
Yep.
And until the day somebody had commented about this, I made a video the other day when I went back to put some grass seed on Mother's grave, and I run by the Blackberry fish pond to do the story on the small monument that the Historical Society or Pike County Tourism has put there, with Devil Anse facing the road and Johnsey on the other side, Randall facing the hillside. You know, the funny thing is, and people don't get this, when Devil Anse Hatfield went to his grave, there were still warrants out for murder for him in the state of Kentucky. Now, Johnsey and different ones had been arrested and paid their dues. Some of them died in prison. Some of them one of them hung. Devil Anse never was brought to justice. And when he died, he was still a wanted man in Kentucky. And that's what's upsetting on that monument. I don't type on there. I'm not going to get on there and debate and all that. We'll make these videos, put them out there for what they are, believe them, throw them in the garbage, quit watching them. It's up to you. We think it's ironic that for the man that was never brought to justice for killing people in Kentucky, as many times as Governor Buckner and others had sent warrants to West Virginia governor wanting to extradite them back, and the West Virginia officials and authorities would not honor those legal papers and would keep him over there and protect him. That was wrong. But to add insult to injury, later years, you put a monument up on the Kentucky side of the river, and you put Devil Anse and Johnsey, the 2 that had come to Kentucky and committed the crimes, and put Randall facing the hill. So, I mean, some people may think that's minor, and that's fine if you do. Maybe it is minor.
It's not people.
It's not to us.
Right. It's not people that are kin to these people that they hurt and the things that they've done. That's not minor. That'd be like, I don't know. Anyway.
Ooh, I believe I'm bleeding over on her a little bit.
Sorry.
I'm bringing her over to my side.
No.
No, it's not right.
It's just hurtful.
And some people have commented that either on emails or this and that. Why?
What's the big deal?
What's the big deal? Well, maybe not to you, but it is to me. I'm from Kentucky. I grew up about 2,000 feet up the road from where that little monument's at. That was my playground right there around that park and different areas and the school, and that's where I grew up. I lived there. And I just think it's a disgrace. It's been there for all these years. But
yeah, it's all good.
So anyway, that's it. This is not a keeping it real video. This is actually a video showing that the McCoys were actually related, or let's say Charlie Manson was actually related to the McCoys, or at least had some,
McCoys,
a tiny bit of McCoy bloodline, maybe. Maybe you just got a tiny bit of it, just enough to show up in the DNA. But
everybody's got somebody in their family.
It is
like
what
that,
it is. There's your McCoy video. We've got more to come down the road.
Yep.
We hope you enjoy the videos. Please, if you do, like and subscribe. This is Sheila's thing. My thing is to set the record straight, and Sheila's is to manage the YouTube channel and watch it grow. And so we're trying to equal out here and
that's right. Be fair.
have a medium. She wants. Oh well, we want to be fair.
Exactly.
We want
That's what I'm
to. It
saying.
may not
We'll
sound
be
like
fair.
it, huh?
We'll be fair.
It may not sound like it sometimes. We want to be fair. You all have got to understand that just because somebody's your hero, and it's okay to have heroes. If West Virginia, especially the West Virginians, want to have Devil Ants for their hero,
Honor him.
that's great. That's fine. But let him be your hero for what he was. Ruthless, murderers, killers. I mean, he was a rough character.
Yeah.
I'm not taking nothing from him. I'm just asking everybody else to give him his due. Call him what he is. Ruthless. He was mean. Yeah. And but you can't have a hero and act like he walked on water one day and the next day, oh, he was, and that's just the way it is. Thanks for joining us, Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum. And this weekend we'll be going to you won't see it. Well, you're going to post it tonight. She's going to post this video tonight. So Saturday, today is Thursday. Saturday is Hillbilly. Well, it's going on now. It started today, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So Saturday, either Friday evening or Saturday, we will be at Hillbilly Days in Pikeville, Kentucky, and Sheila's going to try her first time at posting
live. So
on
you don't know what you're gonna get, but
on YouTube. So we'll see what happens. So maybe you'll see us tomorrow evening or Saturday at Pikeville at the Hillbilly Days. Catch you next time.
Thank you.